According to Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, 805 million people in the world do not have enough to eat. Hi, I'm Andre Uribe, and I'm an avid World Hunger Relief Incorporated farm volunteer. All right, if you switch to your first page, I'm going to show you that there's a few more facts I have for you. So that 1 in every 9 people on our planet go to bed hungry each night, and that's also according to Food and Agriculture Organization. And hunger kills more each year than AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis combined. That's according to UNICEF. So I'm going to let you know what World Hunger Relief Incorporated is. It's a Texas-based corporation. It's nonprofit. They're about teaching kids, not kids, but interns or whoever wants to learn about farming and hunger and how to develop technologies and techniques to keep agroforestry alive and how to keep a sustainable earth while attacking hunger. So what we do is train individuals, we motivate individuals, we partner with sustainable development programs. All right, so I'm going to tell you what we offer. All right, well, I'm going to tell you what the programs we offer are. So they have internships, which last anywhere from a year to 2 years to however long. They have room and board, and if you work on the farm, your room and board is paid for. So the internships vary, but there's also programs like what I did, which is called LOTOS. It's called Living on the Other Side. This is a really great program that I encourage all of you to do. It involved me, we went on a Saturday, I went through Multicultural Leadership Board here at St. Edward's. But you can do it anyway, you can bring a whole group, you can go yourself. And what they do is you go to the farm, and it's in Waco, so it's only an hour and a half away, it's not bad. And I think the difference with this place is that they give you volunteer opportunity, but you also learn so much. I've done volunteering back home a lot, and when you go home and your mom said, "How did it go?" You say, "Oh, it was fine, it was cool, we did this." But here, I felt weird, because when I was asked what happened, I was so excited to tell them, "Oh, we did this, but I also learned this and this and this." You learn so much while also getting to volunteer, and I think that sets us apart from a bunch of other organizations. So our day started off, the LOTOS program, with we would get there at morning, and they would want to feed you breakfast. But the thing was, they give you 13 cents to buy your own breakfast, and they had a wall, and they gave you the prices for each breakfast. So an orange was 6 cents, cereal was 5 cents, but if you wanted to buy cereal, you had to buy milk, a bowl, and utensil. And it was weird, because you think you go in and you see breakfast, and you're thinking, "Oh, I'm going to eat," but then they give you a bag of 13 cents, and stuff that you can buy maximum 2 things, and it's not that much. But they give you the option, if you wanted to buy more, you could do a job, and they'd pay you. So in that simulation, you would work, and you'd do a job like cleaning windows, or going to garden, or cut vegetables or something. And when you come back, they give you 2 cents. But little did they know, much like Ms. Sivas, our teacher, has done, they planted someone in the class to do something really mean. And they someone would give you a sugar packet, and you would end up, they'd just give it to you, and you say, "Okay," and then when you go to buy what you wanted to, they said, "Do you have a sugar packet?" And yes, and then you were automatically arrested, because that was an illegal substance. It represented that. Or you'd have someone that would go, and as you were doing your job, they would pour water on you, or they would push you, or they'd do something really mean, because that's what they were assigned to do. But the people who did these bad jobs, you usually get paid 2 cents for the good jobs you did. These people got 5 cents for doing something bad. And in the end, we all came together after breakfast, and we talked about it. And they said, "You guys probably think we're terrible people, but we really aren't." And they explained to us, the people that handed you the sugar packets were drug lords. They represented the drug lord in the situation. The people at the market, when you tried to buy something, when you wanted to get that orange for 6 cents that you saved up for, and they said, "Oh, the oranges are 10 cents now, sorry." It's inflation, that's how it works in other countries, that you don't realize it until you actually experienced it. And you realize the people that did stuff, they represented people who did illegal things. And they got paid more than people who did honest day's work to get an honest day's pay. And that really made us think, we were just trying to get breakfast, and it turned into this whole lesson, how the world works in other places, how some people are so good, but they have to resort to doing bad things in order to get more money to survive. And that was the first part of the lesson. The second part, they took us to a really cool deck they have, and it's painted with a globe. And what we did was, they said, okay, separate into groups to how many people, there was 10 of us, so they said, what percentage of people do you think live in the populations? And we did, and we got that pretty right. So most of the population, there was half a person in America, which was represented probably like 0.05%, and then some in South America, 1% in Africa, a lot in Europe and Asia, and they had to separate, but then they give us 100 cans, and they said, disperse this how you think the food disperses between these countries. And we dispersed it, and they said, oh, you're completely wrong. And they really dispersed it, and you saw that, like, crazy things. Out of 100 cans given throughout the world, 30 were going to the US for half a person. But in Africa, there would be one person that got one can. And you'd think one person gets one share of food, and that's just averaging. There's probably people who get less. But in Africa, there'd be one person who gets one can of food, and a person in America, half a person gets 30 cans of food, like per capita type stuff. And it was really eye-opening. And then the rest of the time consisted of making your meal. Granted, that's at 11 o'clock. So we had 11 to about 6 o'clock just to make a meal. And you think, okay, nobody needs that time. Well, we were told we were making dinner, and all that was provided for us was rice, beans, and a chicken. And I don't mean like a frozen chicken. I mean live clucking, staring at you. And it was rough. And so we thought, okay, we're gonna have to make a meal out of this. And then, so we get ready, and they said, okay, let's show you your kitchen. We were outside. We had, they called it a rocket stove, and basically you fed twigs into it, and it fed the fire, and you cooked on that. And we actually had to slaughter the chicken ourselves. And I know this sounds terrible, and you might think, oh, I don't want to do this, but it wasn't like, they're not trying to torture you. They're not trying to do like a Scared Straight type program. It's more like you get to see what goes through, what people through other places go through. And again, with that, when you're trying to make a meal, they only gave you those three things. If you wanted vegetables, if you wanted seasoning, you had to do a job and earn it. So we got the experience of, I got to garden a lot. I also got to feed pigs, feed rabbits. Oh, and you need water, of course, to make any meal. So they had a simulation where if you wanted water, you had to go all the way to the other side of the ranch to get from the pump. And that was so hard. Like, I didn't think it would be that big of a deal, but you had to fill up this bucket, and you had to walk so far and fill it up, and it was so heavy, you had to walk back. That's a fraction of what people in other countries have to walk to get it. And they don't have nice fancy buckets that we have. They have a ceramic or a carved wooden thing that they have to hold on their head just to make sure their water gets, just to make sure their family gets water that might not even be clean for them to eat. So we did that, and at the end of the day, we made this terrible tasting meal, and it was awful. And because we were cooking outside, and mind you, it was during the last week of like cold, freezing temperatures, so we were all outside cooking by this fire, trying to earn a vegetable, trying to earn a zucchini, trying to earn a tomato to put in this meal. And it was really hard because like, and again, after when we finally got to eat our meal, I didn't eat, but it was pretty bad. But you get to talk about like what you went through, and it was very eye-opening because you don't see like, this is the other side. Like with many other organizations, yeah, you get to help, you get to make sure people get benefit, but here, you get to see what people go through while helping out at the farm that helps train these interns to work abroad, to work overseas, to work anywhere, to learn how to help them get on their feet. So in conclusion, I told you a little about what they do, the experience you get when you go there, and how it differs from other places. And basically for the future, with World Hunger Relief, they pretty much hope that organizations like them don't have to exist. They hope that a world will be established to where they can, where the world is sustainable. People know how to farm with what little they have, people know how to survive, and people can survive without needing organizations like this to go abroad and help people. So thanks, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them right now.